Alright, so today I will be doing a refutation speech against Gavin's claim. His claim is that the current penalties for texting while driving are insufficient in the US. His secondary claims are, with our current laws, the world is being negatively affected by people who do text while driving. 2, current laws are not severe enough for the injury and fatalities they cause. And 3, current laws are not stopping distraction-related accidents from occurring. In Gavin's first secondary claim, he fails to specify certain evidence when presented, giving a false narrative on the supporting claim. Obviously, there are going to be negative effects of texting and driving of this issue, but the issue in his claim is that it relies on the evidence. He claims that 1,000 crashes are reported each day relating to a distracted driver. Although it can be implied that he is talking about phone-related distractions, the statistics can be misleading. A distracted driver can mean that the person was using a navigation system, eating, or anything that impairs the driver according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. He also claims that the road crashes are the leading cause of death among young people, but never mentions the cause of death, nor does the evidence relate to the claim he is making. Some of the evidence on the first secondary claim are misleading and can easily deceive the audience from the truth. My response to the second secondary claim is that there are laws that are severe enough to stop people from using cellular devices while driving. We have state laws that prohibit drivers under the age 18 from using a handheld or hands-free telephone while driving, and those who are over 18 must use hand-free devices according to the Department of Motor Vehicles. And according to the article made by Melinda Helbach, currently in 2018 there are 43 states and DC it is illegal to text while driving, and there are several laws that prohibit all handheld devices while operating a vehicle pertaining to government-related work. In his speech, he only gave information about California penalties, but does not address other state penalties within the US. For example, in Alaska, if you are caught texting while driving, you are given a $10,000 fine and 1 year in prison. In Hawaii, you are faced with a $300 ticket for the first offense, and in Iowa, you can pay up to a $1,000 fine for the first offense, according to the Siebel article in 2017. While not all states have harsh penalties like the ones mentioned, there are still severe laws throughout the US that penalize people who do use their phone while driving. Gavin only recognizes a small portion of the penalties and laws in the US pertaining to his speech, which weaken his claim. My response to the third claim is that there is a decrease in distracted-related accidents ever since more laws have been in place in 2003. Overall, the hospitalization rate in states with strict laws declined by 7% versus states with no bans, according to researchers' report in American Journal of Public Health. And laws pertaining to phone-related crimes were tied to a 9% reduction in car crashes hospitalization among Americans aged 22 and over, according to the CBS article by Amy Norton, reported in 2015. This really affected older people compared to younger people, which is a step in the right direction. The information that Gavin provides is outdated, and in fact, we are having a decrease in phone-related accidents ever since phone bans have been implemented between 2003 and 2008. In conclusion, there are state laws that are sufficient enough to keep drivers away from using a phone while driving, by showing that there are a decrease in phone-related accidents, and that there are severe laws that punish and prohibit drivers who do use their phone while driving.
All right, well, Organizationally, everything's good. On the first point, you go right after the way the advocate has presented the narrative by suggesting that some of the information is making a broader claim than is really supportable by the issue that's being talked about. Because you suggest that he's conflating all distraction accidents with those that are caused by the use of phones, when in fact there are a variety of other distractions. I think that's a reasonable press to make. I'm not exactly sure I would suggest that he was being deceptive, but the notion that it could lead to a misleading conclusion, because we should look at the particulars about the use of cell phones, because that's what's being talked about for these penalties. The second part, where you talk about the laws being severe enough, I thought that you did a nice job, giving us an outline of the kinds of restrictions that exist. We've got prohibitions under 18. People who are over 18, they're restricted to hands-free devices. You've got information that talks about how it's illegal to text in 43 states. We've got similar kinds of laws. So we've got laws on the books that are talking about those sorts of things. And the severity of the laws. Here's one thing that I think is kind of interesting. You mentioned Alaska's got $10,000 fine, and I guess it's Hawaii's got a $300 fine. So our 49th and 50th states seem to have the extreme versions on this one. So my question is there any data that suggests, all right, there you go. My suggestion is to look for some data that suggests that one's not any more effective than the other. In other words, that they both have the same amount or percentage of accidents caused by, or incidents where people are driving while texting or doing something like that, because then that would show that it's not the severity of the penalty that makes a difference here. It's got to be something else. I do think that on the third point, you did a good job suggesting that obviously having penalties has made an effect, even though you struggled with saying the word hospitalization, which sometimes you just get a block on a word. I understand that. You had two nice statistics here that said, since we put these laws in, there's been a decline in accidents that have resulted in hospitalization for people in these kinds of incidents, and that is a measure of that sort of thing. There may be other information that could be useful on this as well, but as an indicator, that's a piece of sign reasoning. How do we know it's working? Well, we've got signs that there have been decreased accidents that have resulted since 2003. So I thought that was pretty effective in responding to those points. All right, thank you.